missing me from across the room.
Are you struggling to build fast in Fortnite? Well, I have 1,300 wins
and have been playing for 6 years.
and in this video I'm going to break down 10 essential building tips that will push your speed and efficiency to the next level. Let's just get on into it then.
How long does it take
10
for my eyebrows
tips.
to grow
Here we
out?
go. Alright,
Tip number 1.
build in slow motion. Why do you want to build in slow motion? Well, when you build in slow motion, you can see every little mistake that you're making, because I think you learn something every time you do it. What you need though is you need a map that allows you to play in slow motion. So let's go into JIVAN'S practice map here. 947651576524. Now, here is the key to building in slow motion. When you do it, you need to then end your session by going into a faster setting for like a minute. And that way it'll balance out feeling really slow so that when you go back to normal it doesn't seem too fast. Alright, let's see. So we're gonna go into rebuild with bats. And right over here, we're gonna set setting to, we'll go 50. Okay, and then when we're done, we go as fast as it'll let us for like a minute. Go down to 50, and then all you're doing is you're just practicing building at 50% speed. Not much to it. But as you do it, you start to notice little patterns, things that you do, and you also learn how to do things super fast as if you were building really fast. It's where I learned that when you do this move, you can jump down into the box as you're editing. I used to wait for the build to place. You don't need to. So there it is, tip number 1, build in slow motion. Just make sure that you go to 150, 200% for a minute before you go back to normal.
Next tip.
Alright, so
Tip number 2.
is to learn how to flip a ramp. But the reason I put this in here is because, listen, most people, I'm not going to say anybody and everybody, but most people can understand how to work with a cone, right? It's the 4 tiles, it's pretty simple, right? Then you've got the ramp. The ramp has this flip option. Okay, it has this flip option. It has this. It has this. It has every which way you can think. You can do it like this, or you can do it like this. See, my cursor is going from the middle to the outside, or you can go from the middle and follow an outside path or an inside curve. It's hard to explain, but there's so many ways to flip a ramp. And a lot of times when you're panicking in a fight, you're gonna throw a ramp down and not a cone. So you want to practice running forward like this and just flipping ramps as you run forward, and then practice going from whatever side you prefer. I actually prefer this side because it gives you a little bit of a right hand peek. You can do a peanut butter and, like, you know, all sorts of peaks you can play with, and then you can just reset it to block yourself. Or yeah, or you can play from this sort of peak, you know what I mean, where you can get them to come out, maybe play from behind that peak. All sorts of ways to play defensively and offensively with a ramp. But the reason I say to practice it as one of my building tips, as tip number 2, is because it is a much more complicated build piece to work with than the cone, depending on the circumstances and who you're talking to. Some people it's easier for them, but practice your ramp flips.
Tip number 3.
Pick a retake and master it. Okay, so what's a retake? A retake is just any build sequence you do to get height in a build fight, and there are literally like an infinite number of them in ways you can get height. One that I would suggest if you're just starting out, a retake you should practice if you're just starting out is this one, where you do a ramp and a floor, okay? And then before you go through it and edit it, you throw one to the side like that and go through it, and then you just repeat. So this is a great one to practice if you're new to retakes, okay? And you just want to get it to the point where you never stop running, just like I did there. See how I stopped? You don't want to do that. Okay, another one to practice, another great retake you can practice, and I think it might be called the sway retake, I'm not sure. But what you do is ramp, cone, and floor, and then you throw another ramp and you do it again. So let's watch that one more time. So cone, floor, out the side. 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 And you just put another ramp down and you just continue it forever. Okay, so that's the sway retake, and you practice it until you don't fall, like I just did. Tip number 4, learn how to optimize your cursor path. I'm not going to get too involved in this. All I'll say is there are creative maps out there that specifically help you practice with this skill. So if you're not good at this and you don't know what I mean, I'm about to show you. When you're doing an edit, say you want to do the bottom 3 here, right? Instead of doing a big swooping circle, you know, to get it, you want to do a straight line through. So straight line through, just like that. Not a big swooping movement like that, because you're wasting time if you're doing that. Okay, and that goes for peanut butter heads at the top too. Instead of doing a big swooping motion like that, you want to do the same thing, straight line through. And that goes for all of them. Circles, tight circles, not big circles for that edit. Straight across, not much you can do to optimize that, but make sure you're optimizing your edits. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5. Alright, tip number 5, set your sensitivity properly. Take the time to go through and work out every single component of it. If you're on controller, it gets super complicated. Look at tutorials on YouTube. Take the time to really do it. Go into an aim trainer and shoot a target 100 times with one, or 50 times with one sense, and then change it and see how many you hit. If you're a mouse guy, you have a little bit less control. That's a good thing. All I'll say is explore your multipliers, building sense, editing sense, and make sure that you are dialed in on your X and Y sense, your targeting sense. You might not like double movement, okay? Don't think you have to have double movement on our custom diagonals. Peterbot doesn't use them, but sort your sense out. That's like one of the most important things, obviously, but tip number 5 either way. Moving on to tip number 6. Tip number 6 is a big one.
Tip number 6
is make sure that you are familiar with the latency of the server. You can't build the same in every single server and every single map. Every single one is different in terms of its latency. So you have to get used to it and find the rhythm of each server. Pubs are different than creative. This server that I'm in right now is going to be different than another aim trainer. So you have, when you're trying to build really fast, you have to get used to and be aware of the fact that it's not the same in every single map. As crazy as that sounds. It doesn't take long, but it is something that you need to do. So spend the time building for a minute, get used to it. And of course, as time goes on, you'll get used to pubs. Most people are familiar with the pub's server latency, and they're aware of the fact that it's one of the slowest of all of the maps. Naturally, it has the most going on, like 99 people in it, all sorts of functioning NPCs, tons of animations and effects. So yeah, pubs will always run slower than like a creative or a blitz or something. Be aware of that so that you know you have to then set your builds and your pacing and your rhythm according to whatever map you're in.
Moving on to tip number 7.
Tip number 7 is simple. Repetition. You have to repeat this stuff over and over and over until it gets put into your muscle memory. So for me, that means doing this exact move over and over until I get it. Until you get it. And eventually you'll get muscle memory. And you'll start to do this stuff without even thinking about it. So that's where you want to get to. But it is imperative that you are aware of the fact that it takes time. You are not going to get good at something like this overnight, like any other skill. Like imagine juggling. I compared it to juggling the other day and the difficulty it takes to juggle. You can't juggle on day one, but you practice and you get the muscle memory down. In a month, you might be juggling 3 balls like nobody's business. So, yeah.
Moving on to tip number 8.
Tip number 8 is kind of an unusual one, but it's important that you're aware of it. You do not want to jump when you're speed building. Or building quickly, or turbo building. Because when you're jumping, you're in the air. You're wasting time. It is not as fast as you are when you're running on the ground or sprinting on the ground. Definitely not as fast as sprinting, obviously. So when you're building, you want to learn to stay on the ground and not jump. Do as few jumps as possible, even when you're going up. Now, when you're doing 90s, you have to jump a little bit there at the end, right? But then you get jump fatigue, as everybody knows with 90s. And that's, guess what? Guess why 90s are not optimal anymore. For that exact reason. They're impractical. You waste time when you're in the air and you're jumping on 90. You get jump fatigue. There's such a non-optimal way. It's way faster to just go straight. That's why you see a lot of pros just quad edit nowadays. Quad editing sort of took over for 90s in terms of the optimal way to take height or to play aggressively and offensively against an opponent. Because again, you're not in the air when you're quad editing for any length of the build. You're constantly on the ground, therefore you're moving at an optimal speed in the up and forward direction. Don't jump while you're building. It kills your momentum.
Tip number 9
is a lot harder to explain, but and it's a lot harder to do. But as you're building, you want to constantly be looking for right-hand peaks. A lot easier said than done. But instead of just running into somebody's box, you might want to run to the box on the outside of them and stay behind a peak and shoot. Okay? I know that sounds obvious, but you have to start thinking like that. Okay? Especially when you're practicing building and getting good at speed building, because what good is it to build fast if you just run right into their box like a maniac because you're so focused on forward momentum. You know what I mean? You're so focused on running forward that you don't think to stop before you enter their box. You got to learn to stop and think right-hand peaks. Think peaks the whole time. That should be your main thought as you approach your enemy and you get within 2 boxes of your enemy. You want to be thinking right-hand peaks. Stay outside of that box. If you W key in, you're gonna get 200 pumped. We all know. Alright, so that leads us to our final tip. Tip number 10.
and tip number 10.
As you go into a fight, position yourself at a diagonal to the opponent. What's this gonna do? It's going to allow you to think peaks like the previous tip, and it's also going to allow you to stay behind multiple areas of cover. So if the enemy's in that box over there, right there, I'm now behind this wall. I can put that wall up. I'm now behind 2 walls, a ramp. You know what I mean? You gotta start thinking, you gotta approach the enemy diagonally. It's so meta, you can do so much. And really all you're doing is you're putting yourself in a staging area so that you can observe the enemy and make a decision. Again, so that you're not just charging in brainlessly into the enemy's box. If you think diagonally, oh, I need to stop when I'm at a diagonal, it's going to allow you to make so many more decisions and better edits at the end of the day. So as you're practicing speed building and becoming a faster editor, keep the practical fighting side of it in mind too. And you have to practice it that way so that when it's baking into your muscle memory, when you actually go to fight somebody, you know what to do. You're not caught just looking good and not being able to fight. All right, and a quick bonus tip, learn quad edits. Quad edit is just where you throw a cone down, you edit it, and then you do a floor cone, and then a wall, and you edit through those, and then you repeat that process. Okay, learn quad edits. If you want to know what the pros are doing while they're speed editing and they're breaking world records for speed and all that, they're doing this. And then learn how to go up and down, like I just went down there. Just like this. You want to go up and down. Up and down. If you can learn that skill, you're set. I'm telling you. That's your bonus tip. Also, yeah, those are my top 10 tips for how to become a better builder and a faster builder and an efficient builder. Thanks for watching.
Ay, 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 ay.